YouVersion app, Amplified Bible, Classic Edition, AMPC, Luke 12. In the meanwhile, when so many thousands of the people had gathered, they were trampling on one another. Jesus commenced by saying, primarily to his disciples, be on your guard against the leaven ferment of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy, producing unrest and violent agitation. Nothing is so closely covered up that it will not be revealed, or hidden that it will not be known. Whatever you have spoken in the darkness shall be heard and listened to in the light, and what you have whispered in people's ears and behind closed doors will be proclaimed upon the housetops. I tell you, my friends, do not dread and be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that have nothing more that they can do. But I have warned you, whom you should fear. Fear him who, after killing, has power to hurl into hell Gehenna. Yes, I say to you, fear him. And not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies, and yet not one of them is forgotten or uncared in the presence of God. But even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not be struck with fear and seized with alarm. You are greater worth than many flocks of sparrows. And I tell you, whoever declares openly, speaking out freely, and confesses that he is my worshiper and acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man also will declare and confess, acknowledge him before the angels of God. But he who disowns and denies and rejects and refuses and acknowledges me before men will be disowned and denied and rejected and refused, acknowledged in the presence of the angels of God. And everyone who makes statements or speaks a word against the Son of Man, it will be forgiven him. But he who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit, that is, whoever intentionally comes short of the reverence due to the Holy Spirit, it will not be forgiven him. For him there is no forgiveness. And when they bring you before the synagogues and the magistrates and authorities, do not be anxious beforehand how you shall reply in defense of what you are to say. For the Holy Spirit will teach you in the very hour and moment that you ought to say. Someone from the crowd said to him, Master, order my brother to divide an inheritance and share it with me. But he told him, Man, who has appointed me a judge and umpire and divider over you? And he said to them, Guard yourself and keep free from all covetousness, the immoderate desire for wealth or greedy longing to have more. For a man's life does not consist in and is not derived from possessing overflowing abundance in which over and above his needs. Then he told them a parable, saying, The land of a rich man was fertile and yielded plentiful. And he considered and debated within himself, What shall I do, and no place in which to gather together my harvest? And he said, I will do this. I will pull down my storehouse and build larger ones, and there I will store all the grain or produce in my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have many good things laid up, enough for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and enjoy yourself merrily. And God said to him, You fool, this very night the messengers of God, will demand your soul of you. And all the things that you have prepared, whose will they be? So it is this one who continues to lay up and hoard possessions for himself and is not rich in his relation to God. And this is how he fares. And Jesus said to the disciples, Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious or troubled with cares about your life, and as to what you will have to eat, or about your body as to what you will have to wear. For life is more than food, and the body is more than clothes. Observe and consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap. They have neither storehouse nor barn, and yet God feeds them. Of how much more worth are you than the birds? And which of you, by being overly anxious and troubled with cares, can add a cubit to his stature, or a moment, a unit of time to his age, the length of life. If you are not able to do such a thing as that, why are you anxious and troubled with cares about the rest? Consider the lilies and how they grow. They neither wearily toil, nor spin, nor weave. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in the glory of his splendor and magnificence was not arrayed like these. And if God so clothed the grass in the field, which is today, alive today, and tomorrow is thrown in the furnace, how much more will he clothe you, O you people of little faith? And you do not speak by meditating or reasoning to inquire into what you are to eat and what you are to drink, nor be of anxious, troubled, and unsettled, excited, worried, and suspense. For all the pagans' world is greedily seeking these things, and your Father knows that you need them. Only aim at the strive for to seek his kingdom, and all of these things shall be supplied to you also. Do not be seized with alarm and struck with fear, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you kingdom. Sell what you possess and give the nations to the poor. Provide them yourselves with purses and handbags that do not grow old, and unfailing and inexhaustible treasure in the heavens, where no thief comes near to and no mouth destroys. For there, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Keep your loins girded and your lamps burning, and be like men who, waiting for the master to return home from the marriage feast, so that when he returns the wedding and comes and knocks, they may open him immediately. Blessed, happy, fortunate, and to be envied are those servants whom the master finds awake and alert, and watching when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will gird himself and have him recline at table, and will come and serve them. If he comes in the second watch before the night, or the third watch after midnight, and finds him so, blessed, happy, fortunate, and be envied are those servants. But of those be assured, if the householder had known at what time the burglar was coming, he would have been awake and alert and watching, and would have not have permitted the house to be dug through and broken into. You also must be ready. For the Son of Man is coming at an hour and a moment when you do not anticipate it. Peter said, Lord, you are telling the parable for us, or for all alike. And the Lord said, who then is that faithful steward? The wise men whom his master will set over those, and those household servants to supply them their allowance of food and their appointed time. Blessed, happy, and to be envied is that servant whom the master finds so doing when he arrives. Truly I tell you, he will set him in charge over all his possessions. But if the servant says in his heart, my master is late in coming, and begins to strike the servants and the maids, and to eat and drink and get drunk, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour of which he does not know, and will punish him and cut him off and assign his lot with the unfaithful. And that servant who knew his master but did not get ready, or acts as he would wish him to act, shall be beaten with many lashes. But he who did not know and did things worthy of a beating shall be beaten with few lashes. For everyone to whom much is given, of him shall be required, and of him who much entrusts much, they require and demand all the more. I have come to cast fire upon the earth, and how I wish what I were already kindled. I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and how greatly and sorely I am urged on, impelled, constrained, until it is accomplished. Do you suppose that I have come to give peace upon earth? No, I say to you, but rather division. Nor from now on In one house there will be 5 divided among themselves, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, most against daughter, and mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. He also said to the crowd of people, when you see a cloud rising in the west, at once you say, it is going to rain. And it does. And when you see that a south wind is blowing, you say, there will be severe heat, and it occurs. You play actor, hypocrites, you know how intelligent to discern, interpret, and prove the looks of the earth and sky, but how is it that you do not know how to discern and interpret and apply the proof of this present time? Why do you not judge what is just and personally decide what is right? Then as you go, your accuser before a magistrate in the way, make a diligent effort to settle and be quit free of him, lest he drag you to the judge, and he judge turns over to the officer, and the officer puts you in prison. I tell you, you will never get out until you have paid the very last fraction of a cent.